Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Mercury Theatre and star of these broadcasts.
An ugly, horrible, grouchy old man!
Hey, trying something a little different today. I just thought we should have a talk because of the recent news. But before I get to that, recently I was cleaning my backyard and came across a dead possum. Poor guy must have been there for a while because he was starting to turn. So I was about to toss the carcass in a garbage bag so I could get it out of there. But when I lifted the body off the ground, turns out the part of the possum's body that was facing the dirt was in a much more advanced level of decomposition. So the entire front torso melted away, and where used to be the possum's stomach was a massive ball of quivering maggots. So I lift the possum's body, and the maggots come pouring out of the body, just a giant quivering mess. And the smell, Jesus, the fucking smell. Oh, what does this have to do with Sony canceling discs? Absolutely nothing, I just thought that shit was gross, felt like sharing. So recently Sony announced they would no longer be producing discs for PS5 games. The cutoff date for that is January 2028, but still this heralds a big change for console gaming. Now, the internet, which loves to argue about every single thing imaginable, are largely in agreement that this is bad. Really, really bad. In my last video, I took a swing at Nintendo for their subscription service for online play and decade-old game emulation on the Switch. And then purchase a Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack membership, so you can rent 30-year-old games and then render that expensive accessory a paperweight if you stop paying a monthly fee. Now, that wasn't exclusive to Nintendo. I was talking mostly about the prevalence of subscription services, renting access to game catalogs, and so on. But this recent Sony thing is much more acute. It strikes at the very concept of owning a piece of media. And I hate to repeat myself, the age of subscription services is here, whether we like it or not. It's already reached critical mass. There's no turning back, there's no resistance, there's nothing we can do, the war's already over. We lost. It's already too late. This march towards digital-only storefronts and an abandonment of physical media is already too advanced. There's no turning back. The PC games market is 20 years ahead on this. We already have 0 physical releases of games. All major game releases require some form of online DRM like Steam or what have you. Sometimes multiple storefronts and third-party DRM at once, and we have accepted it. Now, I'm old enough to remember a time when contemporary PC games did have a used market. I still have a copy of Clive Barker's Undying that I bought used from a Babbage's sometime in the early 2000s. Even back then, the PC section of the store was like 2 shelves compared to the rest of the store. So the PC used market was already not the most healthy specimen at the time. The writing was on the wall. So for any kids too young to remember, PC games before Steam commonly used CD keys as a form of DRM, and there was nothing stopping you from installing games on multiple PCs with the same CD key, only being unable to access online multiplayer for some games that checked for a unique key. It was a straightforward method of copy protection that wasn't very secure, as key generators were easy to find online, but for the average consumer it was a straightforward process of entering the CD key during game installation, and that was it. It would never bother you again. Now, I remember getting a copy of Half-Life 2 in 2004 and being annoyed that I had to install this thing called Steam and create an account. Now, it has to be said here, Steam back then fucking sucked. It was an annoyance that was slow to start and required frequent client updates that took forever to download on dial-up, if Steam itself wasn't having any server issues at the time. Meanwhile, I could launch any other game I had in seconds without needing any Steam login or any internet connection at all. Steam was an annoyance for years, until it wasn't. I've given console players shit for paying for online multiplayer, and yes, that shit is embarrassing. Why do you tolerate it?
What happened? Your balls drop off?
But I have to face facts here. On PC, we've settled into our own gilded cage. Steam is the dominant online storefront for PC games, and it is DRM with limited offline access. And yeah, I know Steam offline mode is supposed to be indefinite, but many games have secondary forms of DRM, or the Steam offline mode itself can break occasionally, requiring you to log in online again, so in practice it is limited. Now, Steam is fast, convenient, and fairly reliable, but it's still DRM, tied to a digital account that you could lose access to. Now, there are alternatives like GOG, which sells games with no DRM, but that has a limited library of modern titles, so for anything recent, you're most likely dealing with Steam, or Epic, or Ubisoft, or malware. In the year 2026, no major PC game has a physical release. The PC market has abandoned disk drives entirely. Hell, I haven't had a disk drive of any sort in my computer for a decade, and I'm sure it's the same for most of you watching this. It looks like consoles will soon be going through the same transformation. Back in the day, being able to borrow or share games is a big part of what allowed me to enjoy the hobby for the most part. I didn't own many games, was only able to really experience a lot of them by sharing with friends. Dawn of War, Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, Total Annihilation, World in Conflict. All games I probably never would have played unless I was able to borrow them for a weekend from a friend. And my third world country only had dial-up internet available, so pirating games at 7 kilobits a second was not happening either. Hell, back in the day, a single copy of Quake 3 could be installed on every computer in my school's computer lab for a LAN party. That shit was awesome. Modern digital platforms like Steam and even PlayStation do feature things like family sharing, but it has limitations and isn't anywhere near as straightforward as just giving someone a copy of Command & Conquer Renegade and having them return it to you looking like it went through a fucking blender. Jesus Christ, Mike, what the fuck? My point is, the PC market lost something roughly 2 decades ago that we simply can't get back. And now for people on consoles,
it'll happen to you!
No, seriously, it's already happening and there's no way to stop it. It sucks, but there's nothing you can do. Odds are, if you're watching this video, you probably care very much about this news. Congratulations, you're an aberration. Most people that throw money at these companies don't care. And all of us complaining online, we are a rounding error on Sony's spreadsheet. For every person you see online foaming at the mouth at this news, rest assured, many complaining will grin and bear it and buy digital only if they don't have any other option, and they are far outnumbered by people that do not care in the slightest. So I see a lot of people online claiming Sony is doomed. They've already lost the upcoming console generation. Sony CEOs will be fired and sucking dicks for crack in the bathroom of a 7-Eleven. As if they live in a world where corporations are punished for catering to the lowest common denominator. As if the world was just and giant corporations cared about anything beyond their bottom line. Okay, I saw a poll posted on YouTube recently, which is a thing I normally find annoying. It's always from channels I've never seen before about the most stupid shit imaginable. There's no way I can find to keep them from appearing. Why did this just start happening this past month? Am I going insane? Anyway, this poll was from Digital Foundry, so a channel I'm at least familiar with, and it was asking if people were planning to move from PlayStation to PC. Roughly a quarter of respondents responded that they were considering it. Now, the poll didn't have any other context to go with it, so people could have many reasons for jumping to PC, but considering the recent news, it's not hard to guess why the poll was created and what was on users' minds when they participated in the poll. Also, not scientific, just a YouTube poll. Still, I just feel like if these people really felt strongly enough about physical media that they're jumping to PC. It's like leaving a sinking ship to jump on another ship that's already on the water. But the average person that uses consoles does not care that much about physical media. The average person is not terminally online, does not pay attention to gaming news, does not know what Digital Foundry is, has already pre-ordered GTA 6, they buy Call of Duty and FIFA every year, they outnumber you, and will continue throwing money at Sony, and there's nothing you can do. We've already gone through this on PC. I grumbled, Many people grumbled and complained about Steam back in 2004, but now, 20 years later, everything I own on PC is digital and I've stopped thinking about it. I'm a broken man. This will be you. You've got to stop the cycle. Hank! Hank! It's a DRM hellscape, Hank! This meme is still fresh, right? You know, I was cleaning out my closet recently and came across a box of old CDs and DVDs, and among them was this game, Painkiller. I decided to reinstall the game, and it's just as fun as it was back in the 2000s. Love this game. One thing though, I didn't use that disc to reinstall the game. I reinstalled with a GOG executable instead, because that was just more convenient than dragging a DVD drive out of storage and installing that into my computer too. You see the problem here. I'm one of the people that claims to care about physical media, and I would still rather use digital because it's more convenient. This news cycle is just a blip. Sony will be fine. Microsoft will be continuing to cannibalize itself and murder video game developers, whatever they do for fun these days. And Nintendo needs to be discussed here because I feel like they're slightly ahead of the game. Nintendo has already introduced their game key cards, which are just physical cards that don't have any game data. They just have an encrypted game key that lets you download the game from the Nintendo shop. So while you can resell or share the game key card, it's useless without an internet connection or a Nintendo account. I think this is probably the most realistic compromise you can expect from Sony or Microsoft in the future. Something that is cheaper to produce than an actual disc or card containing the game data, and it still gives users some limited control over what they've bought. I'm not saying this is a good compromise. This is shit all the way down. I'm just saying that's the only half measure I see Sony or Microsoft agreeing to. Physical media for game consoles will vanish, and with time you will all get used to not having access to physical releases. Everything will be tied to your PlayStation, Microsoft, or Nintendo account. I see a lot of people bemoaning this news under the false impression that Sony has made a misstep. It's not a misstep. They've calculated most of their consumers don't care about discs, and they're likely right. Like I said, on PC, we haven't had access to physical media for a while. We're all used to it, and I think we've genuinely lost something. So if physical media is important to you, I recommend you enjoy it while you can. Really collect any games you like, and just try to preserve what you can, because these things are going away, and we're probably not going to get them back. I want to reiterate that nothing is going to get better. There is no hope. We're all going to die. There is no God, there is no heaven. The earth will chew us up, spit us out, and keep on spinning. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, I don't really know how to end this, so, goodbye.